folks. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Does anybody need beverage or snacks? You're good to go?
What about right here?
I want to welcome you to the League of Women Voters, Chaffee County. This is the first of our Drinks and Dialogue series for this year. Excuse me. My name is Wendy Hall. I'm on the program committee for the League. Karen Dills, will you give a quick wave, is the president of the local chapter. I asked to do this introduction because this is a special friend. We always start by saying the League's mission is to educate, empower voters through candidate forums and presentations on topics that impact the county's residents. The League of Women Voters works to defend democracy through careful study and advocacy of issues. The League does not endorse candidates. We have just a couple of announcements before we begin. First, we want to thank everyone who took part in one of the 3 election forums that we had, one on ballot issues, one for the BB School Board, and one for the Salida City Council. These were enormously successful events. About 150 residents took part and learned about all of the candidates and the ballot issues. Tonight is your chance to learn from a true expert about our public lands and keeping them public. Just for information, the League's next program is Monday, November 10th, with a senior policy analyst from the nonpartisan Bell Policy Center, who will discuss some of the causes and solutions to wealth inequality in our state. The program will start right here in this room, and all are welcome to attend. Finally, at the end of Walt's program, we will take many questions. Our roving mic will follow you. Do we have the yep, we have the roving mic. So wait for us to get there with the microphone. I asked to do this to tell a little story. Often in life, we experience what I call 6 degrees of separation. Last fall, Walt Dabney gave this presentation for Garnet in the south end of the county. He started the presentation by saying he spoke Texan. Well, I understand that, and I think I talk that way too. After the talk, I went up to Walt and asked where he was from. He said, "I'm from Dallas." Well, now I'm from Dallas, so I said, "What high school did you go to?" Dallas has almost 4,000 Texas has almost 4,000 high schools in that state. So what are the chances that Walt Dabney and I went to high school together? You don't meet many people from this high school up here. Walt was invited to give this lecture last fall because of our very special friend, Art Hutchinson, who is here with us in the audience. They work together at the National Park Service. It is a great stroke of luck that we have these experts in public lands in our small but mighty county in Colorado. These are the people who know and appreciate the best use of our public lands. And with that, I'll give you Walt.
Thank you and good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yes.
As you know now, I'm from Texas and I've never been accused of being quiet, so you should be able to hear me. Great to be here. I live here in BB, about half a mile from here, and I'm glad to be here. It's a special place, I'm finding out, and part of the reason I like being here is I live about 6 minutes away from my brand new grandbuddy. And his other grandparents, I see her in the back room right there. And so we're making this a big family affair, and it's a great place to base out of. I just got back from South Dakota, and then I was here for a few days and just went to North Dakota, and I hadn't spent any time up there, but we did 5 of these sessions across North Dakota last week, and amazing. I had this vision of North Dakota being just like Colorado or anywhere else. It doesn't look the same, I tell you. I'd only been through one corner of it, and I was able to say I've been to all 50 states, but I didn't have a clue what was really up there. Some of it's really pretty, and they got some serious great things up there like the Badlands, the Painted Desert, and all that kind of thing. I've been on the road doing this now for about 8 years, going on 9. And what I was doing for a long time is a PowerPoint presentation, which worked great and so forth. About a year and a half ago, Canyonlands Natural History Association said, you've done this for us in sponsored events we did a number of times. We need to professionally record this and illustrate it and turn it into a documentary because you can't be everywhere, which is true. I'm starting to get old. And, so on one of my presentations in Moab, Utah, and the audience that you'll see in this presentation are all young people that work for guide companies, mountain bike tours, river tours, four-wheel drive tours, canyoneering expeditions, four-wheel drive groups and that kind of thing. They make their living on these public lands. So they definitely have an interest in these lands staying in our common ownership. As we go through the presentation tonight, so I'm going to show the documentary. I'm going to introduce it and then show it, and then we'll have the question and answer afterward. What we can do on this documentary, I couldn't do in a PowerPoint, and they made it so much better. I hope you feel that same way. A lot of the information in here I use is Utah, because that's where I was, that's where I was living, and that's where I first started hearing all these crazy statements that were supposed to be factual that didn't sound right to me, that I started putting this program together to figure out. And I eventually, going on 9 years ago, had this put together, and the League of Women Voters in Southeast Utah asked me if I would put it on for them. And then folks said, you need to take this broadly, because a lot of this stuff we didn't know. Well, I'll tell you, probably a third of the information in this presentation that I'm going to give to you tonight, I didn't know, and I did this work for a very long time. I literally didn't know this. So it's been fun. Every state, the information that's in here on Utah, you can look up for Colorado. In fact, I have some of that information, and then the question and answer thing after this, we can talk about that. It's fascinating. Everything in here you can find out for yourself. For example, one of the things, and I talked about this in here, every state, certainly Colorado, every state, when they came into the Union, there's a Statehood Act that says absolutely what was agreed on by the people in that territory at statehood. One of the big questions is what were they given at statehood as far as lands go? And we can talk about Colorado specifically to some extent after this thing. But with that, I think the only other thing I'll say, and I don't know whether we have any Native people in the room or not, but when I was in, I guess, Casper, Wyoming, talking to a bunch of folks up there a few months ago, I'd met one of the gentlemen in the audience was a Shoshone elder, and at the end of the presentation he said, Walt, he said, I like that program. He said, I think you've got most of it right. He said, but you didn't cover us very well. And I said, sir, that's an absolutely legitimate comment. I said, everything in this presentation I feel very confident in talking about. I've researched it, I can talk about it. A lot of it I know because I did these kind of things. I said, for me, and I mentioned the Native people being here, for me, an old white guy, to stand up here and try to explain the perspective of Native people, especially with the myriad of Native people that there are, I would quickly, unintentionally get it wrong. He said, I accept it. So I don't do it. My purpose in this journey is, as you will see, it's just I love these places. I use them all the time still, even being old. And I intend to do it till the wheels literally fall off. And with that, I'd like to start this. Let me be sure yes, sir.
Well, give us a little bit of your background.
You're going to get it right now.
Okay.
The guy that put this together said, I said, you got a little much of me in the first. He said, if this is floating around out there, people have to know who you are that's talking to them. So if you have any questions after